What is up, guys? It's your boy Teddy Cornwell here, and the world's most underrated podcast on earth. There is nothing like this, and there is something about the underdog. You guys see him? I mean, the tatted man himself, the big fella. I mean, good lord, man, you are covered in tattoos, and I fucking love it. Big Adam. I mean, is it okay if I call you Big? Has anyone ever called you Big Adam? I feel like you just gotta go by Big
You, you,
Adam.
you know the nickname that I got in high school was A Bomb, coincidentally. So that stuck with me for several years after high school. I launched a training business called A Bomb Fitness. Um, and that really took off. But that was from the football days in high school. Yeah.
And A bomb fitness is not a thing anymore. Am I right on that, Adam?
Correct. Yeah. That was dissolved several years ago. We can get into it where I started, but I launched a training business, Avon Fitness, that I ran for several years, and then I got into law enforcement. Um, I was a correction officer at Rikers Island in New York and Queens for about 5 years, and that put pretty much all fitness on the back burner. I stopped competing. Um, so, if you want a little backstory, I started competing when I was a teenager. Right, I was 16 years old, my first NPC show. So I've done teen nationals, collegiate nationals. Actually, the teen and collegiate nationals that I competed in back in 2004, 2005 had I was competing with Steve Kuklo and Brandon Curry. So really, really, top names that are still prevalent in the sport today. And I worked my way up the ranks, man. I've done it all. I won junior nationals in 2012. Took third place at the USA's in Vegas that same year. Um, I've won a ton of New York shows. That's where I grew up. All the Steve Weinberger shows. Eastern USA's. My last show was 2014. I won my class that show, and then went on to nationals and didn't do so well. And that was the last time I competed in 2014. So um, it's been a while. It's been a while.
I was gonna say that sounded like a winning streak until you had to add that 2014. Uh,
Yeah,
we'll say setback on that, Adam. Setback for now.
setback
I
for
mean,
now.
do you ever see yourself stepping back on the stage? I mean, we see masters kind of exploding, and I mean, at this point, anyone can. Doesn't matter age or
Yeah,
pro.
I get that question asked a lot. I have since then I've left law enforcement in 2020. Moved down to South Florida where I'm at now.
Nope.
I have my gym in Boca Raton, Reinvent You, supplement line, Reinvent You as well, and we have a wellness med spa that's actually located in the facility where we do hormone replacement therapy, peptide therapy, IV therapy, um, and just kind of really well versed on health wellness. But yeah, I'm still living that lifestyle. I still am meticulous with my meals 6 times a day, weighing everything out. It's just a part of my daily routine, and I still train hard. So I never say never, but we're getting there. Crawl, walk, run.
Well, I mean, crawl, walk, run, sprint, jog, whatever
Yeah,
the fuck else is after that. Now, one thing that really catches my eye about you, besides the tattoos, I gotta stop with my tattoo obsession, is the transition from bodybuilding to law enforcement to now entrepreneur. I mean, what was the transition like from being the man at Rikers Island and controlling criminals to now being an entrepreneur? What was that switch like, Adam?
So, the reason why I got into law enforcement, it wasn't something that I was passionate about. Obviously, growing up, I always wanted to be Mr. Olympia, right?
Yeah.
But it's not realistic. I had a family. I in 2014, my twin daughters were born.
Yep.
So I needed something more stable with benefits and health insurance that I thought. Um, that would pay the bills, right? And I got called, I took the test, the exam for NYPD and corrections,
Wow.
and um, I got called, and I went through the academy, um, and there I was. But it was tough, man. Every day I was pretty much walking through those gates like you're going to war, breaking up fights, cutting people down from hanging themselves. You're getting spit at, you're getting feces thrown at you, piss thrown at you, and you got to deal with it. That's part of your job is care, custody, and control of these inmates, whether they're in there for murder or they're in there for, jaywalking. They might be innocent, who knows, right? But regardless, they're in there and your job is to protect them, right? Take care of them. And it wasn't easy. So I was constantly looking for my way out. I after the first few years, I spent a lot of time studying the market, stock market, crypto, e-commerce, whatever I can get myself into where I didn't have to rely on my biweekly paychecks and overtime. I was never home, right? Because I was working, 60, 70, 80 hours a week. Um, and I was essentially locked up in jail, right? So um, I made a few good investments. I started a credit repair company. I learned a lot about credit, how to fix your credit, the importance of having good credit, and I opened up an office down in here in West Palm Beach, and that really took off and allowed me to move my family down and um, kind of just spearheaded entrepreneurship head on. Again, that wasn't really my passion, but at least I wasn't stuck in jail, right? So, once I had the capital to be a little more free with my time, then I kind of dove into what I was passionate about, and that was the fitness industry, supplements, creating my own gym, which was always a dream of mine, and health and wellness, right?
Health and wellness. And I mean, I'm smiling here, but I'm shaking like a little bit just thinking about being in jail. Even though I'm not in the bars, just being in that environment has to damage the psyche to a point. Now, you also have a fitness podcast too, Adam. I mean, you're a man of many talents, and what do you hope to achieve through this fitness podcast as well? Because I see a lot of tips, tricks, and just overall fitness advice for people. What do you want to achieve from your fitness podcast, sir?
So the podcast that we run is called Drip Podcast, and the reason for it is because you get an IV, a vitamin IV drip during the duration of the show. So the guests that we have on are usually athletes, pro athletes. We've had Blessing Awadabu, we've had Ariel Kadar, we've had Martin Fitzwater, right? So those are just a few of professional athletes, bodybuilders specifically that we had on. But we've also had professional fighters, female and male, coaches like Phil Giroux, who's very well known down here as um, a professional fighting coach, um, and the really what we just like to get, or what I like to get, is perspective from our guests, right? Where did they start? Kind of like I'm telling you my story. How did they get started in their profession? What they're passionate about, and how that has led them to where they are at today, right? Everybody has their different roads to success, so to speak. So it's interesting to kind of hear everybody's perspective of where they came from and what their goals are. And if I could always lend some advice and insight of how I got to where I'm at, and even more so, the better.
Now, let me flip that question because I have no IV in me and I have no drip on me figuratively.
Okay.
Now, turning it to you, we are the Underdog Talk podcast and we get all kind of people. We started out as a bodybuilding podcast. I love bodybuilding. Okay, but everyone has an underdog story. Now, for you, Adam, what is your underdog story? Where was there a moment where you felt this can be in your bodybuilding, in starting, all your businesses, or even in Rikers Island, where that moment where you felt you were underrated, and you had everything to prove?
I think it started just growing up. Like I was very passionate into sports. I throughout middle school and majority of high school, I wrestled and I played football. But the reason why I didn't succeed to the level that I wanted to at was primarily because of my size. You know, I was shorter. I was 5'5", 5'6" on a good day.
Same.
So for football, that wasn't really going to cut it, right?
Yeah.
And I started going to the gym with my dad after school in high school as a freshman, sophomore, to get stronger for these sports, right? If I didn't have the height, I know I could, you know, have an advantage with strength, right? And thickness and width.
Yeah.
Um, what ultimately led to me falling, in love and a passion for fitness and bodybuilding was I just love to train. And I didn't realize that until I actually got into the gym and train on a regular basis and bodybuilding, right? Per body part, learning about nutrition, supplementation.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening was I stopped playing sports completely, right? And I think it was 11th grade. Stop football, stop wrestling. And I put all my focus into bodybuilding, 100% focus. I basically walked, slept, ate. Everything was bodybuilding related. Um, like I said, I did my first competition when I was 16 that I won and qualified me for Team Nationals that same year in 2004 when I was 17. So um, I think, yeah, I think that could be my underdog story as far as what got me into bodybuilding. And then ultimately knowing, there's always something after, right? Bodybuilding is not going to be forever. But I know my passion for the sport and what led me to the fitness industry, being an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
Staying within that niche and fulfilling a dream of mine of having a gym and being successful at it.
So then let me ask you onto that. Where do you see the fitness industry evolving in the coming years? And then what role do you want to play in the evolution of the fitness industry? Obviously, you've got these amazing startups, you've got an amazing supplement company. What is the benefit or what is your goal to play in the fitness industry?
I mean, ultimately, my vision at least was I wanted to create an environment, a gym environment that not only people felt comfortable coming to, all levels of fitness, but providing, something unique, a unique atmosphere. There's just too many LA fitnesses and, these gyms where they don't care about, your goals, right? They just want to fill a big room with, tier two equipment, I like to call it. And you have your kids that come in and they just want to get some content for Instagram and they leave. They don't really care about ultimate goals, right? So I think I did a fairly good job, or at least with the build out that we had and the space that we have in handpicking, selecting, equipment piece by piece, that I've been passionate about. I'm a equipment fanatic. I stay up late at night and I go through, if I can get an older piece and powder coat it and repad it and bring it back to life, I will bring it and put it in my facility, right? Those old, if anybody knows what I'm talking about, these old Flex Fitness pieces, Body Master, old Icarian, really good pieces that they don't really make anymore, right?
Adam, I'm
So,
not as old as you, man. I'm playing.
So that was the ultimate goal, and just to have a one-stop shop. You can come into my facility. We have a juice bar, smoothie bar. We make acai bowls. You can get your blood work checked right at the wellness center. You don't have to go to a lab. We have a fully staffed, clinic that is not only educated on bodybuilding and what bodybuilders specifically should check for as far as markers go. I'm talking full lipid panels, CBC, CMP panels, because longevity is key to this sport, right? And you want to make sure that everything is in range and you're doing everything correctly when it comes to supplements and food. so you have longevity and you have potential to ultimately reach your goals, right? So it's a it's a one stop shop. It's a family. The trainers that we have, the members that we have, um, it's really just an all in one.
Damn, that sounds like I'm going to a doc's office to just. I mean, it's all in one, shop. So, what are some of the biggest challenges you faced in your own fitness journey? I also got to say one thing. I forgot to say this. Short kings,
Yes,
short kings. So,
yes.
what? 5'6" here, Adam. 5'5" on a 5'5",
Perfect.
5'6" on a good day. So,
Yeah.
what are some of the biggest challenges you faced in your own fitness journey? And that can include starting up the health and wellness, center and your supplement line. And
Yeah.
how did you overcome these challenges?
Um, primarily, I had no idea what I was doing. It was a lot of learning experience. I don't come from a background in starting businesses, and as far as health, the wellness area is a second language to me, anyway. There's a lot of red tape. You have to have doctors on, salary, and they call the medical director that really oversees your prescriptions and what to look for, and what's involved in setting up pharmacy accounts. And there's a lot behind the scenes that nobody really saw. This project was over a year in the making, and I'm talking every day between the build out. I took a if anybody knows where our location is in Boca, it was a solid shell, cement shell of a building that was a fabric factory. It had no plumbing, it had no AC. It needed all new electric to be reran. It was just a shell, right? That I completely had to blow out, put new windows, new doors, new entrances, new plumbing for the locker rooms, showers, new electrical work, the whole nine. And I'm not from a background in construction. I'm not handy by any means. So that was a learning experience, in itself.
Yeah.
But goes to show that when you put the work in and you do it on a daily basis and you're consistent, right? Consistency is key with anything that you do. Um, you'll get to where you need to be. It might not be tomorrow, but you will get there.
You will get there. And I think consistency is king. I mean, consistency with a podcast. I mean, I can talk about that all day. I mean, constantly. People ask me how long I spend on the podcast a day. Probably 10 hours a day. I mean, this is a passion and this consistency. And if you do believe in something, and then there's nothing that will hold you back. Now, Adam, one of my biggest questions for you is you've kind of seen it all, starting as young as fucking almost in a diaper bodybuilding. What is your biggest tip for someone who is looking to become a bodybuilder after what you've seen and you've learned, sir?
I think again it would come down to consistency and what you're you know here's the thing, right? You can be a bodybuilder, and that term meaning you live the lifestyle, you eat healthy,
So,
you train hard, right? You get a good amount of sleep, you take your supplements, you're well versed on nutrition and how the body works. And but as far as being a competitive bodybuilder and a good competitive bodybuilder, that's a whole different ballgame, right? You need to have blinders on. You have to be selfish, right? You have to make sure your life is in order. And and what I mean by that is because you have to dedicate 120% into a prep, that you can't have everything else in the background crashing down because you are in prep, right? Nobody cares that you're hungry. Nobody cares that you're miserable. Um, Ultimately, this is something that you want to do and you want to accomplish. So you have to, basically stand tall and handle it, handle your shit. Um,
handle your shit. And I think that's what I mean. Every elite bodybuilder who's been on this podcast and Underdog Talk, we get the best in the business. This is our choice. I mean, we're stepping on this stage for ourself. At the end of the day, this is our decision. So don't be a dick to people who are caring for you and being around you in this time of cutting or time of bulking or time of what the fuck you're doing. So
yeah.
be consistent. And now, Adam, I mean, it's been such an honor and privilege talking with you, man. You're killing the game in fitness. You're killing the game in health and wellness. You're killing the game in just everything. Now what is your biggest tip for success in life? Or would that be the same as the tip you just gave with consistency?
Yeah, I mean, it plays a role in all aspects,
Yeah,
right? But you got to have a balance in anything that you do.
yeah,
That's why bodybuilding is important, but it's not everything.
yeah.
So you need a balance of obviously health and family and what truly makes you happy. Because a lot of times bodybuilders specifically, they go through preps to compete not because they're passionate about it, right? And they just do it because they feel like there's a stigma that they have to prove to somebody. If you're not doing it for yourself, ultimately it's a
Really
complete waste of time.
Yeah.
Right?
Now, Adam, I'm very interested. Where can we find your supplements? Are these in store or is this online only? Or in your health and wellness center?
Yeah, I mean, we sell a lot of supplements in the gym. We are in a few stores locally here in Florida and some on the West Coast as well. We have an energy drink line as well that we're in a few 7-Elevens, few convenience stores, a lot down here from Miami through about West Palm Beach. We're in a ton of local chains. Our energy drink is fairly unique. We're unique from when we created anyway. Ever since we kind of launched our drink, there's been a lot of
Copycats.
tailgaters, yeah, a lot of tailgaters that came on board, kind of copying our formula. But what we done was it's a zero sugar, obviously, 200 milligrams of caffeine, um, lightly sweetened. I wasn't a huge fan of these overly. I don't know if you're an energy drink fan, but most of these drinks that you consume are very sweet,
Yeah.
right? um, and I was never a fan of that taste, that overpowering
Yeah.
flavor. So they're light and lightly sweetened and lightly carbonated, so you can drink them as a pre workout.
Hmm.
But they're also severely hydrated, tons of electrolytes,
Ooh.
right? So it's a sports drink and an energy drink kind of tied in one, and they're delicious. And that's something that I'm passionate about too. I know the market is heavily saturated, and we're not really a big brand to compete with these other big names, but it's something that we did launch last year, and we do very well with it. We sell a ton of them in the gym, and we sell them on reinventyou.com. They're on Amazon. We sell them, like I said, locally here in Florida at the gym, the supplements as well as reinventyou.com. Um, our Instagram is reinventyou underscore. The gym's Instagram is reinventyou, the letter U, gym,
Ooh.
um, and reinvent you wellness.
Well, first person to grab one of these cases on Amazon, we will also, from the Underdog Talk, be matching that sale. So it's buy one, get one on this energy drink. And honestly, I might have to be the first person to do my own deal. And well, I'd be
Yes.
for both. But first person to get one case, send me a DM. We'll get you that second case to you as well. Also,
Yes.
check out Adam's Gym and first person to also get one of Adam's supplement line. I've seen the the blends on those are phenomenal. I mean, there's no fucking playing around on
Yeah.
getting
Yeah.
something.
We took a lot of time formulating, especially the pre workout. It's a kind of hybrid, a pump product and a pre workout all in one. Not too overly stimmed. I don't like a ton of caffeine, so we keep the stim pretty low. But there's a lot of trademarked ingredients in it, like nisodrine and alpha GPC, and
Ooh, I like
um, we have a delicious Miami Vice flavor. That's our flagship flavor. We also have that flavor in our energy drink as well. Um, our greens product was a huge hit. If anybody is a fan of green supplements, ours tastes amazing. It's a green apple flavor. A lot of times greens have an earthy flavoring taste or aftertaste. These don't. Um, they're very good for you, antioxidants, digestive enzymes, things like that. And yeah, we're doing
Hell
well.
yeah. Well, I mean, Adam, thank you so much, man, for taking your time, tell your story, talk about health and wellness, and man, you got me fucking hungry. Fuck hungry. You got me thirsty for these energy drinks, man. So again, guys, all the links will be in the bio. Check those out. I mean, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, if anyone is in the Boca Raton area and
Yes.
get the day pass to Adam's gym or get
Yes.
membership, take a picture with Adam if he's there. Send it to me, and we will get you a box full of goodies and a signed autograph from one of the legendary guests we've had on the podcast. That would just make
Absolutely.
my day. Guys, don't forget to follow Adam. Follow all his pages again in the bio. Click that shit. Until next time, guys. Big Adam and the underdog out.
Peace.